Now, let us learn about the safety provisions related to testing, operation and maintenance. Before approval is accorded by the Electrical Inspector under Regulation 43, the manufacturer's test certificates shall, if required, be produced for all the routine tests as required under the relevant Indian standards. No new apparatus, cable or supply line of voltage exceeding 650 volts shall be commissioned unless such apparatus, cable or supply line are subjected to site tests as per relevant code of practice of the Bureau of Indian Standards. No apparatus, cable or supply line of voltage exceeding 650 volt which has been kept disconnected for a period of 6 months or more from the system for alterations or repair shall be connected to the system until such apparatus, cable or supply line are subjected to the relevant tests as per Code of Practice of Bureau of Indian Standards. Notwithstanding the provisions of this regulation, the Electrical Inspector may require certain tests to be carried out before or after charging the installations. All apparatus, cables and supply lines shall be maintained in healthy conditions and tests shall be carried out periodically as per the relevant Code of Practice of the Bureau of Indian Standards. Records of all tests, tripping, maintenance works and repairs of all equipment, cables and supply lines shall be duly kept in such a way that these records can be compared with earlier ones. It shall be the responsibility of the owner of all installations of voltage exceeding 650 volt to maintain and operate the installations in a condition free from danger and as recommended by the manufacturer or by the relevant codes of practice of the Bureau of Indian Standards. Failures of transformers and reactors of 20 megavolt ampere or MVAR and higher capacity shall be reported by the consumer and the suppliers of electricity within 48 hours of the occurrence of the failure to the Central Electricity Authority, and the reasons for failure and measures to be taken to avoid recurrence of failure shall be sent to the Central Electricity Authority within 1 month of the occurrence in the format given in Schedule 9. Let us look at the safety provisions related to connection with earth for apparatus exceeding 650 volt. All non-current carrying metal parts associated with an installation of voltage exceeding 650 volt shall be effectively earthed to a grounding system or mat which shall limit the touch and step potential to tolerable values, limit the ground potential rise to tolerable values so as to prevent danger due to transfer of potential through ground, earth wires, cable sheath, fences, pipelines, etc. Maintain the resistance of the earth connection to such a value as to make operation of the protective device effectively. In the case of star-connected system with earthed neutrals or delta-connected system with earthed artificial neutral point, the neutral point of every generator and transformer shall be earthed by connecting it to the earthing system, not by less than 2 separate and distinct connections. Provided that the neutral point of a generator may be connected to the earthing system through an impedance to limit the fault current to the earth. Provided further that in the case of multi-machine systems, neutral switching may be resorted to for limiting the injurious effect of harmonic current circulation in the system. The generator or transformer neutral shall be earthed through a suitable impedance where an appreciable harmonic current flowing in the neutral connection causes interference with communication circuits. In case of the delta-connected system, the neutral point shall be obtained by the insertion of a grounding transformer and current limiting resistance or impedance wherever considered necessary at the commencement of such a system. In case of generating stations, substations and industrial installations of voltage exceeding 33 kV, The system neutral earthing and protective frame earthing may be, if system design so warrants, integrated into common earthing grid, provided the resistance to earth of combined mat does not cause the step and touch potential to exceed its permissible values. Single-phase systems of voltage exceeding 650 volt shall be effectively earthed. In the case of a system comprising electric supply lines having concentric cables, the external conductor shall be connected with earth. Where a supplier proposes to connect with earth an existing system for use at voltage exceeding 650 volt, which has not thereto been so connected with earth, he shall give not less than 14 days' notice in writing, together with particulars of the proposed connection with earth, to the telegraph authority established under the Indian Telegraph Act 1885, 13 of 1885. Where the earthing, lead and earth connection are used only in connection with earthing guards erected under overhead lines of voltage exceeding 650 volt, where they cross a telecommunication line or a railway line, and where such lines are equipped with earth leakage, the earth resistance shall not exceed 25 ohms, and the project authorities shall obtain No Objection Certificate (NOC) from railway authorities and Power and Telecommunication Co-ordinatio Committee before energization of the facilities. Every earthing system belonging to either the supplier or the consumer shall be tested for its resistance to earth on a dry day during dry season not less than once a year, and records of such tests shall be maintained and produced, if so required, before the electrical inspector. Next, we will learn about the safety provisions related to pole-type substations. Where platform-type construction is used for a pole-type substation and sufficient space for a person to stand on the platform is provided, a substantial handrail shall be built around the said platform, and if the handrail is of metal, it shall be connected with earth, provided that in the case of pole-type substation on wooden supports and wooden platform, the metal handrail shall not be connected with earth. Now, let us learn about safety provisions related to the use of condensers. Suitable arrangement shall be made for immediate and automatic or manual discharge of every static condenser on disconnection of supply. Safety provisions related to supply to X-ray and high-frequency installations. Any person who proposes to use or who is using electricity for the purpose of operating an X-ray or similar high-frequency installation, other than portable units or shock-proof, self-contained and stationary units, shall comply the following conditions, namely, mechanical barriers shall be provided to prevent too close an approach to any parts of the X-ray apparatus of voltage exceeding 650 volt, but not exceeding 33 kV, except the X-ray tube and its LEDs, unless such parts of voltage exceeding 650 volt but not exceeding 33 kV have been rendered shock-proof by being shielded by earthed metal or adequate insulating material. Where generators operating at 300 kV peak or more are used, such generators shall be installed in rooms separate from those containing the other equipment, and any step-up transformer employed shall be so installed and protected as to prevent danger. A suitable switch shall be provided to control the circuit supplying a generator and shall be so arranged as to be open except while the door of the room housing the generator is locked from the outside. X-ray tubes used in therapy shall be mounted in an earthed metal enclosure. Every X-ray machine shall be provided with a milliammeter or other suitable measuring instruments readily visible from the control position and connected, if practicable, in the earthed lead but guarded if connected in the lead of voltage exceeding 650 volt but not exceeding 33 kilovolt. Provided that earth leakage circuit breaker of sufficient rating shall be provided on the side wherein voltage does not exceed 250 volt to detect the leakage in such X-ray installations. Explanation: for the purpose of this regulation, shock-proof as applied to X-ray and high-frequency equipment shall mean that such equipment is guarded with earthed metal so that no person may come into contact with any live part. In the case of non-shock-proof equipment, overhead conductors of voltage exceeding 650 volt but not exceeding 33 kilovolt, unless suitably guarded against personal contact, shall be adequately spaced, and high voltage leads on tilting tables and fluoroscopes shall be adequately insulated or so surrounded by barriers as to prevent inadvertent contact. The circuit of voltage not exceeding 250 volt of the step-up transformer shall contain a manually operated control device having overload protection in addition to the overcurrent device for circuit protection, and these devices shall have no exposed live parts, and for diagnostic work there shall be an additional switch in the said circuit which shall be of one of the following types: a switch with a spring or other mechanism that will open automatically except while held close by the operator, or a time switch which will open automatically after a definite period of time for which it has been set. If more than one piece of apparatus be operated from the same source of voltage exceeding 650 volt, each shall be provided with a switch of voltage exceeding 650 volt to give independent control. Low-frequency current-carrying parts of a machine of the quenched gap or open gap type shall be so insulated or guarded that they cannot be touched during operation, but the high-frequency circuit proper, which delivers high-frequency current, normally for the therapeutic purposes, shall be exempt from such insulation. All X-ray generators having capacitors shall have suitable means for discharging the capacitors manually. Except in the case of self-contained units, all 200 kV peak or higher X-ray generators shall have a sphere gap installed in the system of voltage exceeding 650 volt but not exceeding 33 kilovolt, adjusted so that it will break down on over voltage surges. All non-current carrying metal parts of tube stands, fluoroscopes and other apparatus shall be properly earthed, and insulating floors, mats or platforms shall be provided for operators in proximity to parts of voltage exceeding 650 volt unless such parts have been rendered shock-proof. Where short-wave therapy machines are used, the treatment tables and examining chairs shall be wholly non-metallic. The owner of any X-ray installation or similar high-frequency apparatus shall not bring the same into use without giving to the electrical inspector not less than 14 days notice in writing of his intention to do so, provided that the aforesaid notice shall not be necessary in the case of shock-proof portable X-ray and high-frequency equipment which have been inspected before the commencement of their use and periodically thereafter. This brings us to the end of the third module of this session on IE rules.